To our top stories first, a second US citizen who travelled on the Ruby Princess has died from COVID-19. The 64-year-old man fell ill on his way home to California after travelling on the cruise ship last month. Chung Chen's wife and daughter, who also contracted the virus, are suing Princess Cruises for more than $1 million for negligence. The lawyer representing the Chen family, Debbie Chalik, has spoken about the family's experience on the Ruby Princess.
While they were on the ship, they had no idea anything was going on. You know, it was a really nice trip. They had no reason to be concerned because nobody told them there was anything to be concerned about. Everything continued aboard as usual. You know, restaurants were open, buffets were open, shows went on, you know, activities aboard went on. So there was no reason for them to know that anything other than an ordinary cruise was happening. They didn't realize there was an outbreak on the ship until after they got home. So, you know, they started to suspect something was a little odd when they were coming back early to Sydney, but they didn't know what the reason was for that. So the cruise itself, while they were on it, it was fine.
An earlier cruise involving the Ruby Princess is also being investigated by police, but authorities say no known cases of COVID-19 have been linked to that trip. Almost 6,000 questionnaires have been sent to passengers as part of the investigation into the cruises.
The cruise ship Artania is expected to leave Fremantle today. The ship has been docked in the West Australian port for weeks, with the state government saying it is directly responsible for 79 cases of coronavirus in WA. The Artania has been at the centre of a standoff between state and federal authorities and has been issued a notice to depart by Australian Border Force.
And the Queensland government is offering $200 million to help keep Virgin Australia flying. The airline has asked for a $1.4 billion bailout from the federal government to help it through the coronavirus pandemic. The Queensland Premier's office has confirmed it is willing to give the airline $200 million, but other states would also need to contribute to keep competition in the aviation sector. The money would be subject to the airline keeping its headquarters in Brisbane.
More than 150,000 people have died around the world from COVID-19. More than a fifth of global deaths are in the United States, where more than 35,000 people have died. There are more than 2.2 million cases of the virus worldwide. At least 564,000 people are known to have recovered. Victorian Health Minister Jenny Mikakos has announced Victoria has recorded another 17 cases of COVID-19, and that brings the state's total to 1,319. The state's death toll remains at 14. It comes after just one new coronavirus case was recorded in the last 24 hours to Friday morning, which authorities said showed the state's physical distancing restrictions were working.
Now, the World Health Organization has defended China over accusations that the country has attempted to cover up its reporting of the coronavirus outbreak. Officials in the city of Wuhan, where the global pandemic began, yesterday reported an increase of 50% in coronavirus fatalities, taking the death count to 3,869.
New numbers that were reported overnight from China, which added an additional 325 cases and 1,290 deaths from Wuhan. And this was done in an attempt to leave no case undocumented. What we understand is that they've used an existing law of statistics to find these cases. And what they did is they reviewed different databases.
Indonesia has surpassed the Philippines to become the country with the most COVID-19 cases in Southeast Asia. A further 407 cases were detected in the last day, taking the country's total to just below 6,000. Indonesia has carried out 42,000 tests among the population of more than 267 million, meaning the full extent of the spread is unknown.
Swedish officials have defended the country's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, arguing that it is a myth that life in Sweden has continued as usual. Sweden, where schools, restaurants and shopping centres remain open, has been under intense international scrutiny for its approach to dealing with the pandemic.
Sweden shares the same goals regarding the COVID-19 outbreak as all other countries, to save life and protect public health. It is a myth that life goes on as normal in Sweden. Many people stay at home and have stopped traveling. Many businesses are collapsing.
With cities around the world in lockdown, we've heard many reports of wildlife reclaiming urban areas. In Lebanon, flocks of migratory birds have returned to the capital, Beirut, with storks, pelicans and herons flying along the city's waterfront. And in the countryside, residents say they're seeing golden jackals and tree frogs close to home. Isn't it funny how nature, it doesn't take long, does it,
No.
for it to have this fresh air and
Yeah.
just come out and enjoy it.
And reclaim their natural land.
Yeah, it is. It's quite nice to see, isn't it?
Beautiful.